A nation and the people on the move, keeping you up to date. Belmopan Weekly.
Tonight on Belmopan Weekly, new road bypass project for Santa Elena and San Ignacio, Orange Walk gets new sporting complex, police officers show us their softer side, and more top news stories. Good evening and thanks so much for being with us on this Thursday, the 18th of August. I'm Dawn Mitchell. Our cattle producers will be glad to hear that efforts are in full swing and going full speed ahead for them to be able to export their cattle to Mexico. But as with everything worthwhile, there are still a few hurdles to overcome. Rudy Aguilar was at the launching of the program on the ways to make our cattle healthier and more fitted for export to Mexico or any other country.
I am very happy and pleased to officially launch the National Cattle Sweep for the country. I request full collaboration from all cattle farmers to make this project a success.
With great expectation, cattle farmers and interested parties met at the ITVET Center in Corozal Town this week to witness the launching of the National Cattle Sanitary Plan.
Today was the launching, the opening ceremony for the sensitization program, which is a public awareness program for the farmers. The idea is to bring to the farmers all that work that has been done and all that is left to be done, and to inform them that we have now are at the point where the European Union is willing to sign the contract to provide the first lump sum of funds for us to start the fieldwork in terms of getting the testing and the cattle sweep going.
Meanwhile, in Belmopan, at the Ministry of Agriculture Conference Room, a contract was being signed for the Belize National Cattle Sanitary Plan project. Mr. John Carr of the Belize Livestock Producers Association spoke of the benefits and advantages of the project.
This is the biggest thing that has ever happened to us in the livestock industry in Belize, because it's finally going to open up markets, and it's all about markets. We have to be able to sell our product, and I sincerely believe that where now we're getting $1 to $1.10 for animals, I believe that in 2 years we'll be getting $1.50. I would bet a little money on that. I really believe it's that good a deal, and I'm very excited and thankful for the ministry. The European Union here, they wouldn't have been here without the ministry, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the stakeholders, the cattle raisers and BLPA for supporting us, our board of directors as well. Thank you for them. What a privilege to be here at this signing today. This is a big deal. We're very excited. Thank you.
But why is government and the Ministry of Agriculture so keen on placing emphasis on the cattle sweep program? Mr. Waite continued explaining.
The cattle sweep is a necessary requirement in order for Belize to meet the requirements of Mexico in order we can import. You see, they quarantine against 3 basic diseases: brucellosis, tuberculosis, and we are required to be free of both diseases. We also required to at least have a surveillance system for BSE, which is the mad cow disease. So once we, through the cattle sweep, are able to prove that we are free of those diseases, then they will allow us market access into their country.
A very important step for Belize indeed. And as for cattle farmers that did not get a chance to hear the details of the plan and the requirements, well, you need not worry, as the Ministry of Agriculture plans to go throughout the country, not only to educate farmers, but to conduct tests as well.
The idea is to come long ahead of the cattle sweep, at least 2 months, to tell them that we are almost ready to start testing. And actually, why we started in Corozal, because the testing will be starting in the Corozal district. So we will move from Corozal with the sensitization program all through to Toledo, but since the testing will start in Corozal, we wanted to start here first, so that farmers are aware that we're soon to start the physical testing of the animals, and that they are on board, that they are ready, that they take ownership, and also to remind them that this testing has a cost. Because of the 4.4 million euros that will be spent, which is about 12 million US that will be spent on the whole 3-year project, they will have to bear about 23% of that cost. So they need to know that, so that when the BLPA people come to them that they will be prepared. If they have 100 cattle, they know that each cattle, it will cost them approximately $10 per animal, so that they have those monies prepared. So we are forewarning them of the teams that are coming, but to spread the news of the bigger good, that we're preparing a country to be able to export cattle into Mexico, generate income, hopefully improve their standard of living. They will, if they see it as a business, they'll be able to expand, get more heads of cattle, expand their acreage, and do much, much more. So I think that is the message that we bring today.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
Participants included officials from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, and the Belize Livestock Producers Association. A detailed schedule of the countrywide visits will soon be publicized. On Wednesday, the 17th August 2011, as a part of the Belize Rural Finance Program, a second institutional capacity building agreement was signed with the Belize Credit Union League and St. John's Credit Union.
Well, what we're doing here today we think is very important. We are signing a second institutional capacity building agreement with the St. John's Credit Union. This is the Belize Credit Union League is signing a second institutional capacity building agreement with St. John's Credit Union to provide the services to the Stann Creek district. As you know, the Rural Finance Program has been working with 5 participating credit unions so far, from St. Francis Xavier Credit Union in Corozal to Toledo Teachers Credit Union in the Toledo district. St. John's Credit Union was willing to step up. Not that other credit unions weren't, but they were the first willing to step up to say, here, what we want to try to see if we can provide the same service to the community of the Stann Creek district. And so they approached the Belize Credit Union League, approached the program, and after some negotiation over some time, we reached this point now where not only have they signed the ICB agreement, but they have also hired the first microfinance female officer.
In order to empower persons and reduce poverty in Belize, the government of Belize has borrowed money from the International Funding for Agricultural Development and the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, and has implemented the Belize Rural Finance Program that covers 3 components: the Institutional Capacity Building component, the Shares and Incentives Scheme component, and the Rural Credit Fund, which is lending credit unions to lend clients. We'll be right back with more Belmopan Weekly in a moment. Stay with us.
The bill gives the government and people of Belize majority ownership and control over BTL, BEL, and BWSL, and will make it impossible to revoke that ownership and control.
The bill preserves the right of the previous owners of BEL and BTL to proper compensation with a reasonable time for their acquired property.
The bill recognizes the democratic right of the legislature elected by the people to determine who should own and control public utilities. The bill also recognizes the political right of the government to make acquisition orders in the public interest.
The bill contains a provision that says no court should overturn the amendment to the Constitution once the amendment is properly passed. In countries such as the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, courts also cannot overturn constitutional amendments properly passed.
The Constitution of Belize, as it now stands and has stood since independence, already contains 6 sections saying the same thing: that actions taken under those sections should not be upset by the courts.
The bill does not stop citizens from going to court, and the fact that the court should not overrule a constitutional amendment properly passed is a right given to the people by the Constitution itself.
The bill deserves support because it enshrines the right of the people to own the utilities, because it affirms the supremacy of our Constitution, and because it protects the national interest of Belize.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, thanks for tuning in. The days of waiting impatiently in a long line to cross a single-lane Hawksworth Bridge and its alternative wooden bridge will soon be a thing of the past. How so? Rita Aguilar was at the signing ceremonies on Monday, August 15th for the launch of the project to build an alternative road bypass between the twin towns of San Ignacio and Santa Elena in the Cayo district. Here's more.
A modern two-lane bridge will soon be a reality for the twin towns of Santa Elena and San Ignacio. This is made possible through the cooperation of the government of Belize with the Caribbean Development Bank and the Town Council. In his remarks at the project launch, Mr. Andrew Dupigny, Acting Division Chief, Economic Infrastructure Division of the Caribbean Development Bank, pointed out the reason the bank has total confidence in rendering any assistance to the government of Belize, especially as it relates to road safety for its citizens.
The approach being adopted by the government of Belize represents the current best practice in tackling the issue of road safety and taking concrete steps towards reducing the associated injuries, deaths, and losses. CDB is committed to continue its support to the government as they embark on this admirable initiative.
Speaking with the press office immediately after the ceremonies, Minister of Works Honorable Boots Martinez stressed on the vital importance of building an alternative bypass at this location.
This is very important. It is a long-awaited bridge, and the people of San Ignacio, Santa Elena especially, needed this major infrastructure. And it's also a bridging economic gap. You know, they have a lot of trading going through our country, and Santa Elena, San Ignacio is a key part of trading. So economically, it will benefit the country, the better infrastructure. It will benefit also the citizens of Santa Elena, San Ignacio.
We seized the opportunity of speaking to the top decision maker in road infrastructure to ask him for a preview of what can we expect shortly insofar as improvements and enhancements in our road network.
We have received word from CDB of the upgrading of the Northern Highway, that is from mile 3 to the junction with Lars Bank Junction, widen it up. We have received also a proposal from the government of India in terms of looking on the Halova Bridge to replace that. I think that you cannot see or know the beauty of a country if you cannot get our priority is infrastructure, and that in itself transfer into economic benefits for the country.
In attendance at the ceremonies was someone very much interested in the affairs of the area, Honorable Rene Montero, Area Representative for Cayo Central.
I would like to thank our Prime Minister for giving us the support for this project. We also thank the CDB, who is giving us the support funds to control to construct this bypass in Santa Elena. I'm very, very pleased because this bridge is going to be constructed in Santa Elena, which is part of my constituency, which is Cayo Central. And I believe that it will be good for the area because it will create aesthetic value for the area. Also, it improve on economic activities of the area. The residential housing in the area will increase, and actually it will involve about the pavement of about 2 miles of road of the Loma Luz Boulevard. And it is good for Belize, and it is good for the people of Belize.
Finally, we asked Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Works, Kadit Henderson, to give us specifics of the new proposed bridge for Santa Elena San Ignacio.
This project has been in the making for about 15 years. The expectation is for us to have a new crossing on the Macal River. This will be some distance downstream of Hodes. Essentially, the new route will involve a new roundabout at the vicinity of the Loma Luz Hospital, and traffic will then be diverted onto the Loma Luz Boulevard, which goes towards the Belize River and then crosses at a point where it's quite elevated, and a lengthy bridge structure in what we call a composite design. It will be steel girders with concrete deck, 2 sidewalks and dual carriageway well above the flood levels. This will then emerge onto the branch mouth road, and then crosses through an orchard that is owned by the Musas, and then it will merge into Joseph Andrews Drive near the Sacred Heart College. That entire Joseph Andrews Drive will be upgraded. It will be totally reconstructed. The islands, sidewalks, drainage, cycle lanes, new pavement, and it will terminate back onto the Western Highway, where we'll have a series of islands that organizes traffic, giving priority to traffic going towards the border.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
The overall cost of the project is approximately 59 million Belize dollars, and tenders will be publicized later this year, with the actual work commencing in March of 2012. If music is the food of love, then sports is the food of youth. And what better way to feed our increasing youth population than with the proper and modern facilities for them to practice and enjoy the sport of their choice. On Friday of last week, residents of Orange Walk came out to witness the official inauguration of their very own sports complex. Rudy Aguilar and cameraman Fortunato Noble were up north and filed this report.
It was with much cheering and joy that residents of Orange Walk crowded the bleachers and chairs for the official opening of their very own sports complex. Built at a total cost of $70,000, with monies coming from the government of Belize and the Belize Natural Energy Trust, this modern sports center is now a reality. Mr. Orlando Burns is the chairman of the trust.
This is only one of about 23 projects that the BNE Trust is undertaking right now to a tune of $1.2 million across this country. That's the money that was reserved from the oil exports in a special fund, managed 50% by the government and 50% by the Belize Natural Energy Limited oil company. We are 6 trustees on the board. 3 are appointed by the oil company and 3 by the government. And the money, I can tell you, is in good hands and is doing a lot of good for this country.
Special guest speaker was Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, Honorable Gaspar Vega.
There's a new breed of leaders in Orange Walk. There's a new team that are sincere, a new team that wants the welfare of the community, regardless of who you are. That's the only way that the community will prosper. That is the only way that this beautiful sugar city, once we used to be so proud of, will move forward.
Minister Vega received a recognition award for...
A round of applause for Mr. Gaspar Vega for contribution towards us.
But what exactly is the Belize Natural Energy Trust, responsible for funding this and many other projects around Belize? How is it operated, and how does it determine the way in which it will spend the funds? Mr. Alberto August, one of the 3 government representatives at the Belize Natural Energy Board of Trustees, explains.
The Belize Natural Energy Trust is a partnership between the government of Belize and the Belize Natural Energy Limited. It was born on February 25th, 2008, with the signing of the trust deed by the 2 partners. Under this agreement, the government of Belize has committed to forego 0.9% of the gross revenue received from oil to finance the projects and programs of the trust. The bulk of the funds, therefore, from the trust comes by way of quarterly subventions from the Belize Natural Energy Limited. These funds currently hover in the region of $2 million per annum. The trust is mandated to manage these funds for general education and for social environmental purposes, always with a view, like the sign says, of unlocking potentials and empowering the Belizean people.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
Contributors to the project were the government of Belize, the Orange Walk Town Council, and the Belize Natural Energy Trust, among others. Up next, more Belmopan Weekly. Don't go anywhere.
The 9th Constitutional Amendment, what it will do and will not do. It will entrench in the Constitution that the government and people of Belize always have majority ownership and control of utilities. It will ensure that once this is enshrined in the Constitution in accordance with the procedures, no court will be able to overturn it. It will not prevent anyone from going to the court to challenge whether or not the government followed the proper procedure in amending the Constitution. It will not prevent any future government from making any amendment to this portion or any other portion of the Constitution as long as it does so in accordance with the same procedures laid out in the Constitution. It will reinforce the authority of the people in our democracy, which is already in the Constitution. It will underline the fact that no judge, individual, or group can alter, overrule, or overturn any portion of the Constitution, original or amended, unless they can get the support of 2/3 or 3/4 of area representatives elected by the people, and only after the people themselves have been directly and publicly consulted. Those are the simple facts.
Ask any great cook what ingredient just cannot be missing from a nice, delicious bowl of escabeche, and of course, they will tell you vinegar. And did you know that now that same vinegar is being produced locally? Rudy Aguilar was last week down in the Stan Creek district to discover the exciting news.
As soon as we saw an invitation from the Women's Department titled Skills Training for Women Vinegar Production, we knew something delicious was up. And we were not disappointed. Upon nearing the training facility in Hope Creek, we were already smelling, what else? Escabeche. But we were made to suffer waiting until the end of the graduation ceremonies to have a taste. Mrs. Hilda Humes, director of the Women's Department, introduced the female entrepreneurs to the audience.
I want to ask the 30 ladies, I know you're seated in front, but I want to ask you to stand and take a bow. And if you can just remain standing for just a little bit more, because I want you to look at them. And I want you to remember their faces. Because these women forever will have a space in Belize's economic development history book. Because they have produced the first ever line of gourmet vinegars in this country. And it certainly has a long way to go. So ladies, be proud. I want you to remember their faces every time you see that product on that shelf, and I hope that when you see it, you buy it. And I want to remember their faces every time you hear about the gourmet vinegar on the local and international media, because that's how big our dreams are for this product. So they are our guests of honors today, ladies, and we can never continue to express our appreciation for, first of all, taking interest in being a part of this initiative and sticking it out with us, enduring all the challenges that you have for the past few months. So thank you very much, ladies.
Chief Executive Officer in the Ministry of Human Development and Social Transformation and responsible for Women's Department had words of encouragement for the women graduates.
I just really wanted to very briefly add my own words of congratulations to you ladies for really indeed a historical undertaking, and wish you all the best as you push forward with this endeavor, and just be assured that you will continue to have the support of the ministry. We may be short in dollars and cents, but as you see from the kind of support that you're getting from the good people that we have on the ground and within the ministry, that we're here to continue to support this endeavor.
The Organization of American States contributed to the success of the program, and Lupita Thompson offered remarks on behalf of Kim Osborne, the OAS country representative. Meanwhile, Ms. Joyita Alpuche distributed the certificates to the deserving women. At the end of the ceremonies, we interviewed some of the ladies on how they felt at the end of this training.
The training that we receive, it's for empowerment of women economically and to let us come together and work in one. We learn a lot of other things that we didn't know. We get it in order, and now I know that this will lead us to the future, to suffice for our family and our friends and our community.
I work with a women's group from Hummingbird Community, and together we will continue to come and create the vinegar here and go out and market, hopefully in local stores, and gain the support from local Belizeans in our product, and then maybe to outsiders, maybe to visitors. It would be a great product to sell to tourists that come in and have something that is locally made by women, and just really empower ladies in Belize to improve their livelihood and create an income for themselves.
For Belmopan Weekly, I am Rudy Aguilar.
The Women's Department will continue to work with the group during the production phase of the project, in addition to the development of a business plan and a sustainability plan for the group. On Saturday, August 13, over 200 members of the Belize Police Department working at Eastern Division in Belize City gathered at the MCC grounds for a day of games, fun, and laughter. Here's how that went.
These are the men and women of the Belize Police Department. We see them every day, sporting their stern faces and being serious about what they do. But on Saturday last, the man them showed us that they too can get down. Assistant Commissioner of Police Elodio Aragon, officer commanding Eastern Division, told us the reason for the event.
Every day they are working on the streets of Belize, day in and day out. Today we organized an event like this so that we could come together, engage in sports, and try to promote the atmosphere where we could begin to work more towards achieving athletic performance within our department. We have likewise invited their families to be here. You know, at times our officers tend to be away due to work, but a day like this brings not only the police together, but likewise their family, to see them perform out here in the various sporting events.
Those sporting events range from football, volleyball, lime and spoon, sack race, needle and thread, tug of war, and dizzy. Elodio Aragon also pointed out the fact that police officers are human too.
The sporting event today gives us a chance as police officers, because we are not only we are looked upon most of the time just as police out there patrolling. We want the public to understand that we are human beings likewise. We have different needs when it comes to, we have our family, we have our work, and we want to bring this together so that we could have our people out here as human beings enjoying themselves and not just working and working, because the task out there is a difficult one, and days like this brings an ease to those tensions that we face every day on the streets. And we hope that as time progresses, we improve upon this, because at the end of the day, if we're going to serve the general public, we must have a sound body and mind for our police officers. And a sporting event like this just brings that out, and their participation here, I'm quite sure, will go a long way in improving the services they put out there on the streets.
The event started at 8 in the morning and ended well into the night with the distribution of trophies to the winners of the various events. Well, that's it for another edition of Belmopan Weekly. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at production@pressoffice.gov.bz or check us out on Facebook at Government of Belize and on YouTube at GOB Press Office. Let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time, I'm Dawn Mitchell.